Welcome to the Mount Pleasant podcast, featuring discussions and interviews about the people, places, and events that make Mount Pleasant such a special place.
Hi, this is Roger Gaither, your host for the Mount Pleasant podcast. In this episode, Bill Macchio, publisher of Mount Pleasant magazine, chats with Allan Clum, general manager of the Mount Pleasant Waterworks. Now, here are Bill and Allan.
Here we are again, right here, Mount Pleasant podcast, and I'm so excited to have the new water president CEO. You're the CEO of the water company, right, Al?
Yeah, general manager is how we refer to it, but the two seats are very similar.
So Allan Clum, did I pronounce your last name properly? Is it Clum?
You did. It's exactly right. Thank you, Bill.
You've been there for many years, and bottom line is I wanted everybody to know that that our mutual friend Clay Duffy was there for it seems like forever. So you got some shoes to fill, and it's a great place to work. But you know what, Allan? I want to talk about you a little bit. Like you got kids. How long you've been in Charleston? Things like that, please.
Okay, great, Bill. Yeah. So I grew up in Florence, South Carolina, born and raised in Florence. Always had a passion for science. Knew that I was going to be a scientist from a very young age. So I moved down to Charleston in 1992 to attend the College of Charleston. And I love the coast and loved just the coastal community is what drew me to the College of Charleston. Received a BS degree from the College of Charleston in biology with a background in chemistry as well. So early on, Bill, I thought I was going to be a marine biologist. That was my goal as a child and through high school. As I started at the College of Charleston, I really became more interested in environmental science and really water chemistry and groundwater chemistry. And so finished at the College of Charleston, human health and environmental chemistry became more of a focus for me. At that time, MUSC had a master's degree program that I attended in environmental science.
So you have 2 degrees in environmental science? I
do, that's right. So one from the College of Charleston, BS in biology, background in chemistry, and then a master's degree from MUSC.
Allan, now environmental is so important to what we're doing. Back then, it wasn't so trendy. Can you tell our listeners and viewers what gravitated you towards that, please?
Great discussion point, Bill. And you're so right. Environmental science was really just kind of getting the heels in. It was a new program at MUSC when I started. Oh. So it was kind of cutting edge. I was interested in, environmental science and chemistry and groundwater chemistry. That program fit that mold. They had a chemistry track that I was involved with. So it made sense. Was really interested in human health and the impacts of those chemicals on human health, how they impact us and the environment.
So that's where your passion came from for that, was human health.
I think so. I think, Bill, originally my passion and desire to be a marine biologist was very interested in just water in general, ocean science. So I would say that's really what spawned my interest in water quality and groundwater issues. Just really the natural systems and how they work, and ocean science was near and dear to my heart.
So did you meet your bride in college?
I did. Met my bride at the College of Charleston in a physics class. She was my lab partner.
Oh wow, that's a cool thing.
Hey, without her, I probably couldn't have gotten through it, Bill. She pulled me through the class,
And you guys have a couple of girls, right?
I do. I have 3 girls, one about to turn 18, and a 16-year-old and a 13-year-old. So,
do you have any pets?
Yeah, I do. We're golden retriever family. So
okay, I asked that you surround yourself with women. God just made it that way, right? So, do you have a male pet?
I'll let you guess. What do you think?
I would say you probably do, but I don't know.
No,
you got a girl.
I have always I've always chosen female dogs as a kid. We just always had female dogs, and that's the way it worked out. So I have surrounded myself with women and females.
Awesome. Well, you're a smart guy. You went from there, and then when you got out of school, what was your first job?
The first job out of school, it was a small environmental lab located in the Somerville area. Okay. That was my first introduction to wastewater and water utility work. Laboratory manager up there, again, leaning on my skills as a chemist. Really cut my teeth on operations working at that environmental lab. Worked there, Bill, for a handful of years and was offered a position at NOAA here in Charleston, National Ocean Service, as an environmental chemist. And now, at that time, I felt like that was really the career path I wanted to pursue. Got involved in federal research. We were looking at chemical contaminants, not only in fish tissues and sediments, but an array of tissues, looking at the migration of these chemicals. All of these were anthropogenic chemicals, man-made chemicals in the environment. And so did that again for a number of years. And oddly enough, Bill, you wouldn't think someone would say this, but I missed the wastewater and water business. It just felt, I didn't feel complete with the work I was doing. And I really felt a calling to get back into the water and wastewater industry.
Everyone's talking about real estate. The conversation continues with Voice for Real Estate podcast. Listen and learn from the experts who call the Carolinas home. Podcast advertising gives your business a voice of authority. Be heard. Advertise on this podcast. Visit voiceforrealestate.com.
You're listening to the Mount Pleasant Magazine podcast.
Allan, I think that makes a statement about you and what you do, because we excel when we get involved in things we're passionate about that. And I'm very passionate about publishing my magazine. And so I think I can do things differently and excel. And I think the same what you were just talking about. Yeah. And it's cool that at a young age, you realized what you were missing in your life regarding that. I think that's really awesome.
I think I've told our staff this before, we have such an amazing opportunity. I really feel we are blessed to serve the community, to provide really, life support, sustaining water to our community every day. So the sense of purpose at the water utility, it's really easy to see why we are here. So it makes coming to work and understanding that component of your job and sense of purpose, it makes it very easy to relate to that.
I find it fascinating that you have such a scientific mind, but you're good at processes and obviously managing people. I have to say this to our audience and to you. I spoke with Rick Crosby, called me up. He was just singing your praises and how much that he really felt that the water company was in good hands. So, and I do as well, because your background is healthy water, basically, because the negative effects it can have on human lives.
Yeah, I've always really worked hard to understand it. It is a complex interaction when you begin to discuss water quality. But Bill, I will say, I appreciate the kind words from Rick, but I grew up in this shop. I was hired here in 2006. We had wonderful leadership from the commissioners as well as Clay. We have always had and pushed our staff to be involved and innovative and to understand the job they do. So it is not just Allan that brings that. It is this entire group and the leadership that we have. Rick is certainly a part of that, as are the other commissioners. But we really have a strong team here.
The thing I'm fascinated about your background is, I don't know a lot about it, Allan, but whenever anybody says they're an Eagle Scout, at least in my mind, it brings up honesty and integrity and drive and purpose. How have you brought what you've learned through Eagle Scouts into your place of business?
Bill, you've done some research on me. Eagle Scout, I do think a lot of that program and Eagle Scout, what it taught me, Bill, that I've tried to carry with me, is that, it's a series of baby steps, small components that build the larger picture. So it is learning at an early age how to take one bite at a time to get where you're going. I believe that's probably more than anything what I learned through Eagle Scouts. Integrity, honesty, that was certainly kind of their core principles as well. But it was how to take a project and take bite-sized pieces so that you can get to the end. And you certainly have to work as a team.
Water company, when did you start working there, did you say?
2006.
Wow.
That seems like a long time ago, doesn't it?
It does. So what did you do there? What was your first gig there?
So my first gig, as I explained, I had a background in chemistry and lab management. I came to the water company as laboratory director. So the previous lab director was retiring, and they hired me in 2006 as the lab director.
How old were you back then, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh my goodness, I would have to do the math, Bill.
But you were a young man, right?
Yeah, I was probably, 30 years old, maybe, somewhere in that.
And you were ahead of the lab at the water company.
My strong science background had positioned me very well for that. And I really enjoyed that job. It was a wonderful job. And over time, I think some of my skills were recognized. I moved into wastewater supervising that department as well, which has always been near and dear to my heart. I've enjoyed wastewater treatment. The science background served very well to understand wastewater treatment and the complexities of that. And over time, just had a series of more and more responsibility with the water company.
As you've seen our town grow and as you watched everything happen, you did leave the water company for a short period of time?
I did. I was offered an opportunity at Charleston Water Systems as their environmental director over there. So, which was running Plum Island Treatment Plant, very large treatment plant, big utility. So I did move over there for an opportunity.
So the only reason I brought that up is that Mount Pleasant Waterworks has a special kind of culture. So were you driven to come back to that culture? Is that part of the reason, or did Clay court you back?
It was a little bit of everything you have mentioned. There is a culture here that I certainly enjoy and fit very well into. Again, it was opportunities. Clay offered me opportunities to run the water department as well as the wastewater department, to serve in that leadership role. So that expanded my skill set. So it was an opportunity for me. Charleston Water System, I learned a lot of very valuable lessons at Charleston Water. It's a very big utility, a lot of moving parts, and extremely grateful for that opportunity with that water system.
So that experience helped you with the experience, what you're doing now, and you brought what you learned over at Charleston Water Company and Mount Pleasant Water Company, didn't you?
Bill, you never know the path you're going to go and how it benefits you. I think what is really interesting about my current position, obviously, we maintain a very good relationship with Charleston Water now. We purchase wholesale water from Charleston Water, and we have a 30-year contract to do so. The relationships I built while working there are key to the success today. So I have very good working relationships with their staff. Know the ins and outs of the company. So it's been very beneficial for me to have that background. So it has served me well today.
That's awesome. Okay, so when Clay announced his retirement, of course, at first everybody couldn't believe it, but then he was retired. Did you right away think you wanted to throw your hat in there?
Clay had over 30 years in this seat, so he had a lot of time here. I was not excited to see Clay leave. His leadership and his style of management had served me well. I had what I felt like was a very smooth running department. And, quite frankly, the change, it's exciting on one hand, Bill, but it also makes you nervous on the other. What will it look like tomorrow?
What went through your mind, man? Tell us what went through your mind.
So I think the best way to answer your question is I did not right away throw my name in the hat. It took a lot of discernment for me to understand my path. Bill, I have always, regardless of the job or the title, my goal is to take the skill set that I have been given and develop that to the best of my ability, and to try not to force the situation. I like to stretch myself, but at the same time, I often like to feel led into the position. And where does Allan belong? Where do I fit? What skills do I bring to the table? And is this the right fit for me?
And you had those conversations with your wife, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
So tell everybody a little bit what those look like. Did she want you to go into it right away?
Yeah, I think, Bill, the answer to that, both of us, through discernment, through prayer, through trying to understand what the right path is for me and my family, that took time. And so,
how long had they been looking, Allan, before? Of course, the search wasn't that long before you threw your hat in the ring. But how long was it before you did throw your hat in the ring?
Yeah, I think the open date, it was near the closing date.
Really?
I don't remember the exact time frame, but it took a while. It took a while to think about it. I think any good decision like that, Bill, this is a very it's a life-changing decision for me and my family. The commitment to the company, the commitment that this job requires. I describe it, the I've had a lot of jobs before. This is more of a lifestyle. It is a all the time, 24/7.
Yes.
As you try to think about the organization and the organization that has given me so much, and what can I give back? And it is. I'm in constant thought and so it is it's different than a job, Bill. I think it's more than that for me. And so it was a tough decision. It took a long time for me to make sure that I felt like this was the right fit.
Tell us what went through your head when they said to you, "Hey, you got the job."
Well, Bill, I think so. Through the interview process, I have been completely transparent on my skill set. And I think the skill set needed to lead a company, whether it's the water utility or any company, whether it's Mount Pleasant Magazine, the skill set to lead that company may change over time. There may be different skills needed during different decades of depending on the pressures that the utility is seeing. I do feel that my background in science and my understanding of science has really positioned me well for what our utility needs today and down the road. I believe water quantity, water quality issues, those will be very real for Mount Pleasant and our coastal community. So I think my skills have put me in a great spot. Throughout the interview process, really, again, transparent on what my skill set is, what I bring to the table, and whether or not that's a good fit for the company. Bill, I wanted to make sure that interview team understood who I was and picked the right candidate. If that was me, wonderful. I feel like I can pick up the torch and move forward. If that's not me, that is also okay. We have a great company. I believe in what we do, and I will certainly do my role as operations manager.
I really like what you just said about science, because science is ever changing, and you connected what your new position was going to be like to what you knew, because you knew the new position was going to be changing on a daily or monthly basis. So,
coastal communities, again, not just Mount Pleasant Waterworks, but coastal communities in the Southeast, not only have we seen development pressures, which I don't expect will change, but, there's also sea level rise, the discussion over groundwater quality and quantity. There are some real challenges facing water utilities in the Southeast coast.
what does the water company have in place to deal with the growth that's inevitable and currently going on?
We have positioned ourselves very well and have very redundant operations. We use groundwater as our source to treat water in Mount Pleasant, and there are quantity and quality concerns. We also wholesale purchase water, and we're looking at, we store water in the ground to use during peak demand times. So we kind of, those are our three buckets of water. We are also looking forward at innovative technology to reuse our water. And trying to better understand that, water quantity is an issue in the U.S. and we're no different. So we're looking at those technologies. How can we reuse water? How can we best use the water that's available to us? So I would say we have a very diverse portfolio right now of where we can get our water from.
Your science background was kicked in with the desire to know more when it comes to reusing our current water. Is it not?
Exactly. I think, Bill, I think that is a new conversation for a lot of people, is the reuse of water. Quite frankly, all water is reused. And so that, once you discuss that with people and educate them on where our water comes from and the fact that all of it has been reused, you begin to break down those barriers. But I do believe that over the next decade, 2 decades, that will be a very common practice, is to reuse our water. Again, the technology, the science behind it is proven, but the science and technology will be a large component of the public accepting that and understanding.
And you're well suited for that because you know those elements. Nobody has to educate you on that because you know those things.
Bill, I feel I've been a leader in that discussion. So you're right. It's something I believe in and something that's near and dear to my heart. And I do think that's the direction that our industry will go over time.
If people go to mountpleasantmagazine.com and search Mount Pleasant Water, I bet there's at least a dozen articles over there over the years. I've talked somewhat about the water company. So Let's talk about some fun stuff. Okay.
All right.
So everybody, I've been at city council meetings when they've talked about the old, the water tower in the old village, it's been under discussion a long time. But prior to this podcast, you made me aware of the fact that we got an award because of that. Could you let our listeners and viewers know what I'm speaking about?
Yeah, Bill, that was a really tough decision for the commission to bring down that water tank. Very hard decision. It was the right decision. As you know, that tank had not been used for many decades other than for cell tower. And it was really in a bad shape. The integrity of that tank, the structural integrity of that tank was really concerning to us. So did make the decision to bring down the tank 6-7 months ago. We partnered with Coastal Conservation Association as well as, DNR was a part of that project as well, Sea Hunt boats. And we turned it into an artificial reef. So they put the largest single site reef, several containers, I believe there were 10 containers on it, the water tank, large life-size sculpture of a great white shark to give it a little bit of interest for divers. And so we took this structure offshore.
How far offshore is it?
It's about 10 miles offshore, part of the Edisto reef system. So it's a great opportunity in the future. I look forward to a great educational opportunity. I can picture fishing tournaments, other recreational activities around that as we discuss the importance of water and water quality. So it may serve as a focal point for education as well. But the whole project was picked up by NACWA, one of our national organizations.
What is it? What is it called again, Allan?
National Association of Clean Water Agencies.
Okay.
So NACWA, but they recognized us with a environmental award, an environmental achievement award. So a pretty prestigious honor for our utility to receive, related to really how we took a piece of vital infrastructure built in 1935, had exceeded its lifespan, was used as a cell tower, and then ultimately as habitat in an artificial reef. So it's really is a good bookend to the whole story.
If I'm on a cell phone in the old village and I get dropped, is it because the tower's not there anymore?
Well, the cell company, how they manage their cell equipment that is part of their operational plan. They will be leaving the site. Right now, they have a temporary pole on our site, which will be moving very soon to a more permanent location.
But we compete against Chicago and Dallas, Texas, and we win. Little Mount Pleasant wins, right? Can you tell us what I'm yakking about here? Yeah, I love it. So National Operations Challenge event. If you drive by the office, you'll see a banner out front that says National Champs. And so Operations Challenge is a competition where different water utilities, and you're right, a lot of the big players, they have a Division I and a Division II. So Division I is like the Pro Series. It is the big utilities, the Chicagos, the LAs, the Texas. And we compete in 5 events. It's a 4-man team. And it's timed as well as skill-based. And we compete in different components of water utility. Everything from operational tests to putting on a tap, repairing components, safety rescue. Don't you put together generators and see who can do the fastest generator and stuff?
Right. Some of it will be maintenance of a pump, who can break the pump down the quickest and properly maintain it, replace impellers, different parts like that, Bill. And all of these, you get points for different events and they all add up. But the long story short is we are the national champs. Little Mount Pleasant.
That's awesome.
That's our national trophy. So it is something we're very proud of, and really is a prestigious honor. And it just goes back to the fact and the foundation that we have an amazingly committed crew here. The teamwork is very strong, and we can compete against the Chicagos and the LAs and the Texas teams. So it is quite an honor. We've gotten a lot of traction. It's really nice when you see our name in national magazines as the national champ.
Allan, I'm honored that and I'm so excited that the leadership of our water company is in your hands. So many people like you, so many people think you're a great leader, and I'm really proud to have interviewed you on Mount Pleasant podcast. So thanks for your time. I appreciate it, Bill.
It's an honor to be here. I feel like it has been a blessed career to be involved in the water quality world. And I really enjoy providing that to our community and serving as best I can. So thank you.
We're in good hands. I have one more really important question. Do you read Mount Pleasant Magazine?
I do. How else can you answer that question, Bill?
Hey, Allan, thanks.
Don't we all?
I look forward to following your career and your leadership with our water.
Great talking with you. I look forward to seeing you as well.
Thanks for spending your time with the Mount Pleasant Podcast, your community, your podcast. Listen to past and future episodes at mountpleasantpodcast.com.